Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Orange Power Podcast. Excited to talk a little Cowboy wrestling, and joining us is one of the assistant coaches for the Cowboys, Coach Tyler Caldwell. And, Coach, it's a pleasure to have you with us here on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that kind of have transpired, right? So, again, I know you guys have already started wrestling, and people starting to get accustomed to the new staff, the guys on the roster, that sort of thing. But let's back up just a little bit. I mean, Coach Smith decided, hey, it's time for me to move on. You got new coaches coming in. You were a part of that staff before, and here you are now. Change can be nerve-wracking, but it's also exciting. So just kind of talk about the entire change that we've seen.
Yeah, I think when you talk about change and growth and development, there's always a little bit of uncomfortable, unfamiliarity with just anything new and unknown. So I think with that, there was definitely a lot of excitement, a lot of excitement amongst the team and a lot of different changes moving in different directions. So I think as time goes on, the guys have been more and more comfortable with the change and really excited now that we're competing. And we've had a great off season of just building relationships. That was the big thing, is just getting here, getting the staff here, getting everyone settled, getting moved, I would say, with young families and getting settled in and getting to know the guys and guys getting to know them. And wrestling is a very intimate sport when it comes to relationships. So I think that was the key right off the bat, was build a relationship with the guys.
Well, and when you look at, obviously off to a great start, and we're going to kind of talk about that as well. But when you look at the change, right, there was a desire to have a splash hire. And if you're talking about a splash hire, Coach Taylor was exactly that. It's a name that people obviously were very familiar with. John Smith is a legend. David Taylor is kind of developing into that legend in his performances. So to have him come in and take over the way he has, it just got everybody very, very excited to continue what Oklahoma State wrestling is all about.
Yeah, I think you said it the best. It was a big splash, right? Turned the wrestling world upside down. I think it was something probably a lot of the wrestling world didn't see coming or didn't think it would happen, and everyone's really excited and thankful it did, right? And it was when you have a 33-year-old legendary head coach, John Smith, and no better name to follow up with David Taylor.
Yeah, and it's obviously gone really well. Talk about some of the learning curve, though, right? This is a very talented but inexperienced coaching staff, really, from a standpoint of being in charge of a Division I wrestling program. Been around it, been through it, but to actually be the coach of it, inexperienced. So there's got to be a learning curve, but it seems like they've adjusted very, very quickly.
Well, if you look at college landscape right now in all sports, there's so much change. Everything's so new. So honestly, with the new staff, all the new NCAA rules, portal, NIL, it's new to everyone, so it's really no different.
Yeah.
So
these guys have come in. Describe the team. Describe the style of wrestling that we're seeing right now. Because, again, 4-0, obviously a very good start to the season.
I think when you talk about style or just philosophy or what we're preaching, it's just score points. Wrestle hard, score points. One thing that's been really great to see is guys are not holding on to leads, not trying to hang on to a win. They're cutting guys with 15, 20 seconds left in a period just to try and go get another takedown, when the easy thing to do is just ride them out, finish the match on top, and they're cutting them, looking for another one, and actually getting it as well.
Yeah, because when you look, aggressive, dominant, fast, tech falls, major decisions. There are a lot of those in the first four matches. There have been a ton of bonus points here early.
Yeah, and I think just looking at the trend of the results of the national tournament, bonus points, and even the conference tournament, bonus points and win the tournament. So that's something that's definitely preached, and it's easy to preach it, right? But getting guys to go out there and do it, that's one thing, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, and I completely, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in wrestling at all, but I get the side of that. All right, listen, I've got a 5-point lead. I don't want to risk anything here, right? I can wrestle this safe, or I can, as you said, cut them loose, go after some more, and try to get that tech fall, that major decision, keep going. And that seems to me to be a fun way to wrestle, and it's certainly fun for the crowds, right, to be able to see this style because it's action. There's action always on the mat right now with you guys.
Yeah, and I think to kind of follow up with what you're saying about fun is it was something I noticed right away with the way the room was ran, and just anytime you're learning something new, that's always fun and exciting as well. And those guys have been really receptive to that, and it's just been a fun atmosphere from a standpoint of learning and growth and development, and the way we've been preaching to the guys, and it's carrying over into their matches, and you can kind of see them wrestling a little more free probably, and more open to trying new things and looking to score points.
Let's talk about some of the guys. Let's start with a guy like Luke Serber, who does have a fall on the season, and talk about how he's kind of made some of those adjustments.
Yeah, I think for Luke, he's had a great start, right? He had a big win at Oregon State, two-time All-American Trey Munoz. And for those Luke in those matches, you look back, and he won the matches handily, and he could have kept scoring. I think for him, coming back from an injury is just building that confidence. You know, he kind of second-guessed himself. Am I ready? Am I ready to go compete? It's been off a long surgery, long laid-up surgery, and here I am, big match right out the gate. Am I prepared? And I think we'll see that more out of Luke going into Vegas now that he's had 4 matches under his belt, that he is prepared, he's ready, he's healthy, he's strong.
Another fall came from Troy at one point earlier in the year. So the other thing is it's not just the same guys, right? It's different weights right now that we're seeing some of these big numbers. Yeah,
it's something, like I said, we're preaching, and not only preaching it, but we're working it in the room, just different scenarios, and there's an art to pinning guys, and for me it's been new as well. I mean, it's been a different aspect of wrestling that I'm learning as well, so it's been really fun for me.
And all I hear about is the big personality of the heavyweight, right? I mean, guy comes in and he is gregarious. He's fun to watch. He does a lot of things that are entertaining, and that's kind of fun too, to see guys come in with big personalities, and they're allowed to have those personalities, especially when they go out there and take care of business.
Yeah, and that's something as a staff we've talked about too, is just be yourself. Don't be anyone you're not, and don't be afraid to show some personality. And if it's not, if it's not who you are, then don't do it. But just be yourself, and if it feels natural to you, do it. We kind of looked at Wyatt's first match here in Gallagher on the stage, and he finished up with a backflip on the stage, and he came off the mat, and he was like, "Coach, I was so pumped." Between periods, his first and second period, they played the Top Gun clip on the Jumbotron, and he got so fired up when that song came on, and he came off the mat. He was like, "When they played that song, I got so fired up." So we thought that was pretty funny, and he actually told me, I didn't know that Top Gun, that was actually Navy, and he came from the Air Force, so he said no one knows that.
Hey, especially it's just the military, right? Everybody's excited about that. Real quickly, before we let you get out of here, a couple things. One, speaking of the crowds have been great. Yeah. The crowds have been entertained, and they're engaged in it. And it's got that feel of, some yesteryear Oklahoma State wrestling events. It's becoming an event again.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of excitement and a lot of momentum around the program, and we want to take advantage of that and make sure when people come, we put on a show. So we have our job to do as a program is guys are going to come watch, let's put on a show, and let's go score points and wrestle hard and give them something to be excited about.
Speaking of excited, obviously this weekend, tell us about this weekend, Cliff Keen, Las Vegas Invitational coming up. You guys are headed out there. What can we look for out there in this particular event?
Well, we're looking this morning at the pre-seeds, and, man, it's going to be a lot of great wrestling up and down every weight class. It's basically a mini national tournament. So it would be really good to see the guys tested at every weight, and we're really excited.
It's going to be a lot of fun coming up Friday through Sunday, right? I think, or is it just Friday and Saturday?
Friday,
Saturday, okay. Yeah. So it'll be wrapped up on Saturday night. And a big one before, by the way, you guys get ready to take on Bedlam in Oklahoma. It's kind of weird having them still in the conference in one sport and not in others, but I know you guys are excited about that as well. Coach, appreciate the time. Best of luck with the rest of the seasons. Congrats on the quick start. Appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
All right. With that, that's going to wrap things up. I want to say thanks to Coach Caldwell for being here, and our thanks to you guys as well. I'm Casey Kendrick. We'll see you guys next time on the Orange Power Podcast.